I'm going to wet the back. I'm using this brush, which is a 10, to do that. I probably should use a bigger one, but this will do for now. And where the little flicky bits are down here, I'm just going to go straight past them at this point in time. I'm not trying to do anything there with that. I'm just wetting to that. And I'm just going to do a little shaggy edge to the collar, and I'm leaving a dry patch between the head and the back of the neck. Nice smooth stroke down the back. And right down to the tail. The tail will dry out before I get to it, so I'll have to re-wet it, but I'll wet it now. And wet right to the edge where the goethite and raw sienna is. Then I'll look and I'll add some more water on top, because where I've gone down here, it's dried up a little bit. I'm not going to worry about this bit here yet, the shaggy bits, because we're starting on the other side, okay? So we're going to use the green again, cobalt green, sodalite genuine, and hematite. So we've got blue, green, and maybe we'll use a little bit of French ultramarine in here too, okay? And I'm using that because almost everybody's got French ultramarine, and I want you to see that you can use things in your palette that are useful for granulating, not just normal painting. Have you all noticed that French ultramarine granulates when you paint with it? Yeah, so you know exactly what I mean. So here I go. So I've got a little size 4 brush, and I'm going to start with the green again. So I'm just tidy that up on my brush, and I'm just going to start at the neck towards the back, and I'm going to little shaggy edge. I'm on screen, getting better at this. So you can see I've just put it to the edge, okay? Just put it to the edge there. Now I'm taking it out a little bit further. Then I'm going to wet my brush and drop some water on top of, at the edge, and see what happens? See how it pushes it out? So that's what we want the water to do. Just a small brush. That's what we want the water to do, to push it. And if I sat here and watched it, it will start to granulate. And it is. Can you see that on the screen? It's starting to granulate. Is that focus okay? Yeah. Oh, yes. I can't see it properly from here. Okay, good. So if you end up with a puddle down here, you can just wick up a little bit. So I haven't got it on a tilt, but I think this table is not 100% level, but the water's taking it out. So on top of that, I'm going to put sodalite. So just the same as what we did on the head. So here comes the sodalite. I'm dabbing it on here so that I haven't got a big, and you can dig it into your little pile and then just spread the pile out so that you're picking up pure pigment, not too much water. And so then I'm going to drop it in the same place, not down further, on the same place on top, okay? And that will help push the green out too. So I'm just doing a continuous little blob. My brush is not flat. I'm not stroking it. It's just a touch and a drag across, and it's got more on it. And then I'm going to take that down the back edge. I'm going to form the back edge with that because I want that to be bluish. Rinsing off my brush. And I'm going to drop some more water on there because that's dried out. Crazy, isn't it? The blue at the top's not moving. What am I going to do? Add water. So I'm dropping just with a small brush. I'm just adding some water there. Then I'll give it a little tip. Then I'll add a little bit more water. So the green is actually dried out a little bit. It's okay. I'll just add a little bit more water, just a fraction further down. Okay, so you can see it's starting to form an edge here because this is where we're going to put the cobalt turquoise later. Okay, but I want a lot more pigment than that. So I'm going to pick up some more. Oh, now I won't. I'll put some more sodalite on there. It's not sodalite, that's hematite.
Excuse me, it's not wet down to the yellow feathers, is it?
No. So I've gone straight past all those flicky bits. I'll deal with them a bit later, but I want to keep a wet edge where I've got it. So I'm just putting a bit more sodalite on here, not right to that edge because I want that a little bit lighter and it's spreading out nicely there. So if you want the pigment to get all the way down to here, we're putting it here and spreading it down. Okay, I'm not painting it down there. It's wet down there. You can see it's wet down there. So down there it goes. It's off. So I'll just give it a little tip. Oop, run off the bottom of the bottom feathers. I got carried away with mine. By the way, I always buy solvent tissues. I told the girls this yesterday because every time you pull a tissue out, you get one. How many times have you pulled a tissue out and it's still attached to the one behind it and the one behind it and you get like a roll of toilet paper coming out? So I find solvent tissues consistently good. Now I'm going to tip this back and you can see I've got water running up the back line and forward and it's all starting to granulate out nicely. So it's very peaceful. You don't have to feel anxious. Just if you get into trouble, just add water. Now it's drying out a little bit in the front here. In the middle, so I'm just dropping some water in there. Okay, I'm barely touching it, using a brush, holding it quite vertical, a brush that I've picked up, let the water drop off, and I'm dropping it in there, okay, just to keep it wet. So there we've got our greeny blue. Now I'm going to pick up some French ultramarine, and this will brighten it up a little bit. So French ultramarine is beautifully granulating. I'll just tidy it up on my palette a little bit. And then I'm going to drop it in the same place again. I'm not dropping it down here, I'm dropping it up here. Okay? It's quite blobby. And I'm going to add a bit of water. Just for something different, I'm adding water. And I'm adding water until that moves. I'm just lifting it up a little bit on the side. And watch it. So this guy's going to be a bright little kingfisher. And I'm just adding some more water with a little brush, with my little brush that I'm painting with. I'll just wick up my puddle down the bottom here. Dry brush. Pick it up. And some more water over the top. Now, can you see that beautiful granulation that's happening? So although this is a really quick process, in that I'm not painting every feather, it's really good to take it slow like this and not rush it and just observe what's happening. If it's not moving, add some more water. I've got a little blob of French ultramarine here. I'm just going to put a bit of water right on top of it. And if you lose the darks and you want more darks, just add some more. Add some more French ultramarine. So I'm just tidying this up down here. Wick up a little bit more water. So there we've got our general colour on. And it's granulating nicely. So then I'm going to think about some shapes that I want to pull out. So we've just done that whole area except for this bit here. So if you look at the reference image, just underneath the, down here, underneath the tail, the wing and the tail, where the tail feathers are, and there's a little triangle of dark here. So now I'm going to lay this, I'm happy that it's granulated, so now I'm going to lay it flat, and I'm going to put a little bit of hematite there, which is the charcoal kind of colour we used. So I'm just going to fill in this corner here. I'm going to go to the edge, make a nice clean edge, and just create a little triangle there. And it's a loose triangle. And then at the back, just before the feathers meet the tail, there's a little dark bit here. So I'm just putting that in there and it's just drifting out. So it's not really a shape at the end of the day. It's it's more of a shadow. It's a shaping shape.
Was that first shake on dry?
No,
That's still wet.
it's a little bit dry. Yeah. So I'm just going to put that there. Now I'm going to put some phthalo turquoise in here too, because we're very blue here. So I've got lots on over here. So very wet. So strong and wet. Strong mix. I'll show you. Strong mix. It's a strong mix, but it's wet. I'm going to add some turquoise and I'm going to drop it. I'm going to drop it from this side just for something different. So I've got a hard edge there, but I'm going to drop it here. So I'm using the shaky hand technique. Very customized technique. And then I'll just, and then I'll get, the older we get, the better we get. Yeah. Maybe not. I think Edith's got a pretty steady hand. So you can see what's happening there. It's just spreading out that way a little bit. So now I'm going to drag that a little bit more of that. I'm going to put a bit more of that phthalo down here, just along that bottom edge. Okay. And now with a little brush, I'm going to wet these little flicky bits in here and where it's white, not where it's gold. Then I'll pick up the turquoise light, put my French ultramarine down, pick up the turquoise light. So you can see these colours have all just mixed together nicely. I've got more turquoise towards the bottom and the edge. So I'll give it a little tip around. And as I tip it, the water, it's just shiny now, like really shiny. But it's not making a big pool down the bottom of the tail feathers now. But it's still moving. And the little tip makes the colours granulate. Pigment particles settle down. Okay, so now I'm going to dip my brush in the turquoise light. This is a fantastic colour. Very opaque. And it doesn't like moving around. I always liken pigments to personalities. So Nicolazo yellow or transparent yellow is the party animal. It wants to get out and go everywhere like the soda light. This is the shy person who stands in the corner. So now I'm going to go down here and I'm going to drop it to the edge of that dry bit there. So it's wet onto dry virtually. I'll give it a little tip that way. And then I'm going to wet my brush and drop some water on top of it because it's a very, likes to stay in one place colour. So I'm just dropping water on top of that. I'm not going out into the flicky bits. Now I'm going to change brushes to a little brush. And it's wet. My brush is wet, but not dripping wet. So one little touch. Then I'm going to pull that colour out into these. And this is negative painting into the gold. So try not to get square-ended feathers because these feathers on the light part are overlapping the wing just on that top part. Doesn't matter if you don't cover up all the white because we can actually have another go at this later if we want to. But that negative painting creates a sense of the belly feathers fluffing over the wing. So then I'm going to just put a little bit more water, which has got some cobalt turquoise in it here to push back that, just to create that nice edge to the wing. And the cobalt turquoise won't push, but the water will. Okay. So see how much lighter it is at the edge there? Look at your reference image and you can see that lighter bit along the edge. So then I'll pick up some more cobalt turquoise, and now we're moving down to the tail. So I'm going to drop some more cobalt turquoise here, where those gorgeous bright feathers are, over the top of where there's phthalo or something else, and down to that dark little triangle there. So just in a wedge down there, and then I'm going to take it right to the bottom. I'm not trying to define anything.
Just asking, love.
Oh, sorry. Thank you. Yeah. So the feathers, it kind of looks like two. Maybe we'll make it a third one there. Feathers come up to there, and just a little tip. And then we just watch it and let it dry a little bit. And then we're going to add, when it's damp, we're going to add those dark defining lines where it just suggests that there's some feathers there. So this is taking a little while, but it's only a few processes, but it's the waiting time. So it's not something that you want to rush. This is the wing. It's the most colourful part apart from the head. So I'm just looking at the granulation and just thinking, am I happy with how much of the cobalt turquoise I've got? Maybe I'll tidy up a few of these little bits here. Take it up to the top there. Just have a little look at the top there. Make sure it's nice and shaggy. Now the water is dried off a little bit. You can tip it and wick it up at the bottom if you need to. Just wick it up at the very bottom if you need to here. But that's drying out nicely. So now I'm going to pick up some hematite, and this time I'm going to mix the hematite with some sodalite. So I get a really black blue on my palette. So it's full strength mixed together. Little brush. I'll just reinforce that area there. Just drop a little bit at the edge there. And then I'm going to, and you just, basically you're guessing here because you can't see your lines underneath. But I'm just going to do a suggestion of feathers stopping here. Can you see that okay? There. And then I'm going to use some nice strong paint so that it stays where it is. And I'm going to go like this, a line there and like this. Still soft. And fill this bit up. So you're painting negatively, thinking that the feathers are coming down to there. And then I'm going to let this dry off more down here. Let's give it a little tip. And then I'm just going to do a couple of little streaks here. And I'll just, if it gets blobby, sometimes when you rinse your brush out when you've been using this thick paint, it just stays on the brush. Mm-hmm. So just check it before you go back in with what you think is clean water. So I've dried this off. So not often will I do this with this process, but I'll just tidy up these lines just so that they look more like lines and edges of feathers. And I'll do this again later. Then look at the definition of these feathers, and you might need to go again with almost like a wet on dry effect. So just think feather shape here. And there's a little dark bit here so that the turquoise kind of flows down over the back. There's a little dark bit here. Breathe, Debbie. So a lot of this process when you're doing an area like that is just watching it and analysing it and managing it whilst it dries. I might put a little bit more turquoise on the tail feathers, brighten them up just with a little brush in between my lines, and I'll call that done. All right. So to reiterate, I wet it.
Mhm.
I didn't wet the jaggy bits. I wet it right to the tip of the tail and left the shaggy bit at the top. Then I added the green, then the blue, then some French ultramarine, and then some phthalo green over a long period of time.
And you said first the green, sorry, and then the blue.
First
is
the-
soda light.
First the green, then the sodalite.
soda light.
Yeah.
That's it.
And that's the main bulk of it.
Yeah.
And then I added some French ultramarine, probably more to the top part, and then some phthalo green to make it more turquoisey to this part here. Take it right, you wet it right to the bottom. And then when you're happy with the granulation and the shape and the intensity of that, then we added wet on to dry right at the edge, the turquoise, the light turquoise light, cobalt turquoise light, which stays where you put it unless you add quite a bit of water. Then I added water over the top and created the little flicky bits up in. And then I used hematite mixed with sodalite to create those darks when it was drying off.
Did you use in the beginning a little bit of hematite as well on the top after the green and then
No,
soda light?
I didn't.
No,
I
it's
just
for those two triangles.
just the two triangles at the
Good.
bottom later
Yeah.
on. So just start with the green, like the head, and the sodalite. Okay, and I'll come around and then I'll remind you what to do next. Good job.
That's very good.
Okay.